World population growth in emerging and industrialized countries from 1750 to 2050 is seen in this line graph, measured in billions. Around 1 billion people lived on the planet in 1750, the vast majority of them were from emerging countries. Since then, global population has grown continuously, with a noteworthy spike in 1950. By the year 2050, the global population is expected to top 10 billion people, with about 9 billion of those individuals living in developing nations. Globally, most people reside in underdeveloped nations. There has also been a steady growth in the world's population since 1750, and it is expected to continue until 2050. The graph below shows the many forms of decay in neutrons and protons. The yellow one has gone from having 6 protons to having 82 protons, with neutrons ranging from 6 to 126. However, when we examine the data, we can see that the range is also the same for the blue one, however the number is significantly higher. Furthermore, we can observe fission, which is represented by green, proton, which is represented by red, neutron, which is represented by purple, and fusion, which is represented by blue. The color black represents a stable nuclide. Finally, the graph depicts the many types of decay as well as the interaction between neutrons and protons. The bar graph, which is measured in tens of thousands, depicts the week's worth of daily vehicle production. As the week progresses, it appears that automobile production rises steadily, peaking at 13,400 cars on Wednesday and then fluctuating, with just 2,000 cars manufactured on Saturday and no cars made on Sunday. Overall, Wednesday is the day when the most automobiles are created, while Sunday is the only day when no cars are made. The image seems to be a kind of a pie chart that is divided into 5 different size portions showing the healthy options to eat. Bigger the portion, healthier the food. The different parts of the plate suggest various edible items to bring in homeostasis, or physical and mental balance. There are 2 large portions of the plate, one shows fruits and vegetables, and the other one has bread, rice, potatoes, and pasta. Slightly little than those portions are the parts of milk or dairy products, and poultry and meat. The smallest part of the eatable plate is of foods and beverages having high fats and sugars. Overall, we can conclude that to remain alive and kicking we should be eating a very well-balanced diet. Building transferable wealth is a process that begins with living within your means and ends with transferring your money. Living within your means is the first step in the process. When you save more than you spend, you end up with a positive cash flow. The second step is to conserve and invest any remaining funds. Stage 3 is all about transforming your savings and investments into a source of income for yourself. When you die, your money and estate will be transferred to your heirs. To summarize, there are several steps in the process of accumulating money that may be passed on to future generations. How to get complete health is depicted in this artwork. The 3 pillars of a healthy lifestyle are diet and nutrition, physical fitness, and stress reduction and relaxation. Motivation, positive change, and health and well-being are all attributes that can help you achieve these ideals of perfect health. Attaining 100% health requires focusing on 3 main areas. The number of legislation in Brazil from 1953 to 1993 is shown in a line graph. Since 1953 to 1963, the number of legislation has stayed around the same at around 100. After that, from 1963 to 1983, it gradually increased from 100 to 1,200 people per square mile. At 1,200, it remained, only to soar to 2,400 by the end of that year. To summarize, during the past 4 decades, the number of laws has grown steadily. Obesity is still a big issue in many wealthy nations today. The United States has the greatest percentage of obese persons, 74.1%, followed by New Zealand, 68.4%. Then there's Australia and the United Kingdom, with 67.4 and 63.8 points, respectively. Canada is fifth on the list, with 61.1% of its population fat, while Ireland is sixth, with 46.6% of its population obese. There are 2 sorts of structures shown, one for a hot environment and another for a cold temperature. The steeply pitched roof of the cool climate building collects sunlight while storing heat and reducing heat loss. During the day, the windows of the warm climate building are closed and covered, and at night, the windows are opened to allow for ventilation so that the stored heat may be expelled. When it comes to heat storage, one form of building is better than the other since it absorbs less heat. In 1980, 1990, and 2000, the table shows the average yearly salary for bachelor degree holders in various areas. The yearly salary of business degree holders increased from $91,000 in 1980 to $105,000 in 2000, making them the highest earning workers of all time. In 1980, language and literature degree holders earned $64,000, $71,000 in 1990, and $80,000 in 2000, respectively. Graduates in the field of business made the most money, while those in the field of language and literature made the least. The pie chart below shows how commuters in Sydney, Australia use various modes of transportation. 60% of commuters rode the train, but 10% used the bus or a cab. People who walked, cycled, or drove accounted for only 5% of the population. Public transportation was used by the majority of commuters, while personal vehicles were utilized by just a small minority. The distribution of income in China and the United States between 1970 and 2000 is shown in the graph below. Based on population and annual income, this may be quantified. In 1970, China's income distribution was extremely skewed, with the vast majority of people earning less than $1,000. The price ranged from $5,000 to more than $100,000 in the United States. Around the year 2000, China's income distribution widened from around $500 to almost $50,000. In the United States, income distribution remained basically unchanged. Over the course of the last 3 decades, China's wealth distribution has widened while the US has mostly stayed stable. The graph below shows information regarding the age group. Female and masculine products are included. According to this graph, the value of female age among those aged 80 and up is roughly 0.4%. This graph shows that the largest percentage of females are between the ages of 1 and 15, which is 15.5%. The smallest figure of male age is 0.8%, as you can see from this graph. In conclusion, in every age group, the percentage of females and males is about equal. An graphic depicts a complicated anaerobic digestion flowchart. Anaerobic creatures are those that cannot exist without oxygen. The graphic begins at the top with the waste feed material node, which is where storage and any pre-treatment takes place. Following that is the digester, from which it breaks into two biogas or separator. Biogas is progressing in biogas storage vessels where it may be utilized as a fuel in cars, turbines or generators, and gas burners or boilers. The separator step is followed by liquor storage and fiber. According to the wording, the liquor might be sold depending on the location. Overall, it appears to be a pretty difficult procedure. A one-bedroom flat is seen in this illustration. The unit is 5.40 x 6.80 m in size. The bathroom is on the right, and the kitchen is on the left, as you enter. You'll discover a huge living area on the right and a bedroom on the left as you continue into the apartment. This image could be used to promote a product or service to potential customers or tenants. The two-color vertical bar chart displays data on whether people retire at the appropriate age or retire too soon. The x-axis displays the years from 1998 to 2006, while the y-axis displays the number of retirements that occurred over those years, with figures ranging from 0 to 20,000. The graph clearly demonstrates an increasing pattern, with the length of the bar progressively increasing throughout the years depicted. In 1998, when over 5,000 persons retired, the majority of them behaved in accordance with their age rather than prematurely. As the years passed, both preterm and elderly persons expressed an equal desire to retire. E-waste is depicted as a graph in this article. The graph shows that, when looking at electronic trash, DVD/VCR players, radios, and hi-fi sets, for example, account for roughly 15% of the total. According to the graph, the second largest percentage of electronic waste may be found in television, which accounts for roughly 10%. Figures from the graph clearly show that refrigerators use the least amount of electricity, accounting for about 20% of the total. As a result, we may conclude that the graph is really useful. On this globe map, agriculture's 2014 share of total employment is depicted as a percentage. Of all agricultural employees, over 61% live and work in Africa, whereas the smallest percentages, less than 2.40%, are found in North America, Australia, and China. The majority of agricultural employees were found in Africa, whereas China, North America, and Australia had the lowest concentrations of workers. This procedure explains how to add a Wikipedia article. To begin, look up the word on Wikipedia. If you can't find the term you're looking for, you go back to the beginning and try again. If you can't find the term you're looking for, you'll have to look for a comparable term. You establish a redirect if there is a similar word. You can start a new article if there isn't a redirect. As a whole, there are a number of steps that must be taken before a Wikipedia page may be created. In Australia's Blue Mountains, annual average temperatures are shown on this graph. An orange dashed line depicts the coldest temperatures, which ranged from 40 degrees in January to 17 degrees in August before rising to 35 degrees in December. There is a dashed green line representing the lowest temperatures, with a slow drop from 25 degrees in January to -10 degrees in August, followed by a steady climb until 10 degrees in December. The coldest months are from June through August, with January and December being the warmest.